US President Donald Trump has softened his recent comments on China and the head of the US Federal Reserve after recent clashes in efforts to pursue his economic agenda. After repeatedly criticizing the head of the central bank, Jerome Powell, Trump said he has no intention of firing him.
I would like to see him be a little more active in terms of his idea to lower interest rates.
Speaking in the Oval Office, Trump added he was optimistic about improving trade relations with China. He said the level of import taxes that he had imposed on Chinese imports would come down substantially but not completely. These taxes are an effort to encourage factories and jobs to return to the US, and which is a pillar of his economic agenda aimed at reducing the cost of borrowing for Americans. Meanwhile, Apple and Meta have been fined 500 and 200 million euros respectively as European Union antitrust regulators handed out the first sanctions under landmark legislation aimed at curbing the power of big tech. The EU fines could stoke tensions with US President Donald Trump, who was threatened to levy tariffs against countries that penalize US companies. These follow a year-long investigation by the European Commission into whether the companies comply with the Digital Market Act that seeks to allow smaller rivals into markets dominated by the biggest companies. The fines signal that the EU is sticking to its guns in enforcing the new rules which were introduced in 2023. Finally, Boeing has reported a smaller than expected quarterly loss as it produced and delivered more jets. This followed quality problems and a crippling strike that shattered most of its aircraft production late last year. The US plane maker wants to roughly double output of its top-selling 737 MAX plane from its January level to a regulator capped at 8 per month by the end of this year. However, it faces industry supply chain snags that have delayed subjet production even as its backlogs swelled last year on strong demand for aircraft. It reported an $11.8 billion loss for 2024 due to problems at its major units. Boeing is also dealing with the fallout of a US-China trade war that led to the return of two of its planes destined for a Chinese carrier, and this could further strain relations with the fast-growing aviation market. For International Business, I'm Anne Mwendwa.
The Press TV.